What's up, everyone? Welcome in episode 10 of Around the Felt. I am your host, Colin Tong. Alongside me, Reagan Loescher. I don't know about you, Reagan. It feels like Christmas Eve, baby! Football is back! It starts tomorrow. Chiefs, Lions. I am absolutely pumped. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm pumped. I don't know if I'm that pumped because that's hard to beat. Let me try. No, I'm not even going to try to beat that. I mean, you are pumped. For those of you listening on the podcast right now, I'm sorry for your ears. He was a little loud there, so hopefully it doesn't sound as bad when I edit it. But, I mean, honestly,
good morning wake-up call.
Can't really apologize too much because, I mean, the NFL's back.
The NFL is back. College football's in full swing. Week 2 coming up there, but come on. It's the NFL, baby. The king is back. Yeah. I'm excited.
It's Christmas Eve.
It's Christmas Eve. It does feel like Christmas Eve. I'd rather it be today than actually Christmas Eve. So we're going to start today. We'll go through news. We'll go over our bets that we have for the season that we made throughout the division breakdowns. We're going to give our playoff predictions, all of our award winners, and then we're going to break down week 1. So it should be a good episode. I'm excited for it. And some big news dropped today.
Nick Bosa. 5-year, $170 million deal.
Was it 120 guaranteed or something like that? 123?
Yeah. It was a huge deal, and I mean, we were talking about it with the Niners, like what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, we were a
couple weeks ago.
It was looking like he was going to sit out week 1.
I'd imagine he'll probably play week 1. I don't see why he wouldn't be.
Yeah, he's in. It's Wednesday, so he's definitely
Plus, you'd imagine, I mean, he's been doing all the things. Even though he hasn't been there, he's definitely been staying in shape and stuff, so I don't see why he doesn't play there.
Absolutely.
Week 1.
Massive deal. He's getting over $30 million per year. I believe it's like $34 million a year. Crazy.
Wow. That is crazy as a pass rusher.
He's getting paid quarterback money.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's the defensive player of the year, so well earned. But I mean, I'm very curious to see how this affects Chris Jones. Chris Jones is holding out. Granted, Chris Jones was not the defensive player of the year, but he's an All-Pro. He was one of the elite players last year. We talked about him in the AFC West episode, how disruptive he is on the interior. He's probably like, damn, he's getting paid. Where's my money? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different with him being a D tackle, but still. I mean, and then also Brian Burns as well.
Yeah, Brian Burns, so he might not play week 1. Little foreshadowing there. I love the Falcons this week. But, he might be out this week.
Let me guess, Bijan's going for 200 yards?
I didn't say, I mean, not 200, but he'll get 100.
Wow.
Especially with no Brian Burns there. And the thing is, Burns doesn't have the resume of Bosa, but it was reported last year that the Panthers turned down an offer of 2 first-round picks from the Rams for Brian Burns, which is an absolute haul for a team that, now look at them. We talked about the Rams. They're terrible. They have 3 great players, and other than that, they have nothing. They have no depth, and they offer 2 first-round picks. So, you know, his agent's saying, hey, if you turn down that deal, like, you better pay us, or we'll leave and you'll regret all that. So, interesting to see what will happen, man. A lot of holdouts this year. A lot of holdouts.
Yep, yeah. I mean, and with all the running backs holding out, I mean, now they're all reporting, too.
Yeah, they just say, we'll give you an extra $1 million and you're back, you know?
Saquon got his year deal.
Let's go, 2-6. And in tomorrow's news for the game, Travis Kelce, I'm sure everyone knows, hyperextended his knee. Do you think he plays?
I do not.
I don't either.
I just don't see a point in risking it. It's
one week. He's such a durable player, and also they play on Thursday.
I think they can win without him.
I think they can win without him as well. I mean, and they play on Thursday, so then you're giving him an extra 10 days off before the next
it just
game.
Doesn't really make sense, like, for a team that's the Super Bowl favorite to even risk him for one game. Like, even if they lose, are you worried about the Chiefs not winning that division, or at the very least making the playoffs now? So I think it doesn't make sense to play him, and I expect him not to play, but we'll see. And if he does play, I think it'll be limited.
Yeah, I agree.
If he doesn't play, Noah Gray I would pick up.
Yeah, I picked up Noah Gray. I have Kelce on one team, and I was like, damn it, I picked up Noah Gray.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't have Kelce, I'd pick him up. If you're one of those guys that, like, is streaming the tight end position and have one of those, like, I don't know, back-end tight ends you drafted late in your drafts, I don't see why you couldn't play Noah Gray. I mean,
I could totally see him catching a touchdown.
So, and then Cooper Kupp out week 1, and also might go on the IR. Sean McVay didn't rule it out, which isn't a good sign. I mean, I actually didn't take Cooper Kupp anywhere, so I'm pretty lucky for that. But for those of you guys that took him early or have him in Dynasty, it's not a good sign, and especially that he didn't roll out the IR. I mean, last year he had dealt with injuries, so hopefully it doesn't linger all year. But, I mean, if he's dealing with a hamstring injury all year, the team's not playing well, what's stopping them from shutting him down?
Yeah, if Kupp is out, this offense will struggle to score points. I don't know how they are going to move the football, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I do think it looks good for me saying the Rams are going to be terrible this year and going under 6.5. So.
And then, obviously, in unfortunate news, Josh Dobbs is named the starter of the Cardinals. Doesn't really make sense to me. I thought Clayton Tune was the better guy, but we'll see.
Yeah, you saw him in practice, right? You would know.
Anyway, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't know we were joking around. I thought this was a serious podcast. No, I mean, but in all seriousness, the only reason I'm being a little salty about it is I think Clayton Tune could win Rookie of the Year, so this obviously puts a damper in it.
Scorching hot take. But we respect it. It's a ballsy play. I don't mind it.
Oh, thanks.
I actually do mind it. It's actually ridiculous because he got beat out by Josh Dobbs, who got picked up 2 weeks ago. But
well, I mean, Josh Dobbs just loves beating out rookie quarterbacks. I mean, he took Malik Willis's job last year, so that's his thing.
If you're bringing in Josh Dobbs, you know your rookie sucks.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, if there's any quarterback out there that could beat out a rookie quarterback, it's Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, he's done it. We've seen it.
Come on, we've seen it before. I mean. But, yeah, so it doesn't bode well for that. But, I mean, like the line reflects from Vegas. I mean, the line's set at 3.5. This is going to be a dumpster fire of a team.
That's terrible.
And then this is an NFL news, but I saw Caleb Williams, his dad, came out and said that he will not be entering the draft next year if he doesn't like the team that's picking number 1. So,
and, it's interesting that I saw that it's a point that a lot of people will miss here. I think people forget Cliff Kingsbury is a consultant for USC.
Yeah.
So who's projecting the first pick right now? The Cardinals. You don't think Cliff's in his ears like, dude, you do not want to go to that organization?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
Come back another year. You're going to get a ton of money, NIL, and you'll still go number 1 anyways.
I mean, that's possible. I don't want to say anything because I don't know Cliff and I'm not around the organization, so I don't want to assume things like that. Like you said, obviously I was assuming Clayton Tune was good, but then you gave me crap for that. So I don't know how you'd know Cliff was doing that, but... But I mean, I guess you know Cliff more than I do. So next time you see him, ask him if he wants to come on the podcast.
I'm just saying it's a strong possibility. It's different than what you said with Clayton Tune being better than Josh Dobbs.
Yeah. Okay.
But all right.
Okay, bro.
That wraps up the news for today, and now we want to touch on the bets and the punishments we have that we made head to head.
Yeah.
Going into the season, so we have a list here.
We have a couple so far, and we're going to continue to add to it throughout the season.
Yeah.
And once again, if you guys have ideas, for those of you who know us, text us. Otherwise, if you don't know us or you see a post on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, just drop it in the comments and be like, hey, this is a good punishment idea. Or, hey, this is a good bet idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So
because there's guys I'm high on and there's guys he's high on, so that we can even get a fantasy bet going or something like that.
Yeah, I like the ones that we got right now. We got a good little...
Yeah, so let's start us off with the first bet.
Falcons, 8.5 wins. I'm on the over. Reagan is on the under. The punishment is that disgusting weight gain smoothie early on in the pod. Reagan brought it up. Some dude was drinking it. Do you remember who it was?
Yeah, it was it was Mock, Cody Mock.
Cody Mock, yeah. The guy with the ginger hair and the gap in the tooth.
Yeah, and then the next bet is Saints over under 9.5 wins. I took the over because I think they're gonna have a big year, which I'll get into a little more.
I'm on the under, and we
don't know why.
We have an interesting punishment for this one.
Yeah, you got to eat 12 hot dogs in under 20 minutes, and if you're unable to do that, then you have to keep retrying every week until you accomplish that feat.
Yeah, so chances are by the end of the year, Reagan's going to be preparing for Coney Island next year.
I mean, smoothie was also
the 4th of July.
Ben Barch.
No, Ben Barch. I'm sorry, Ben Barch.
Wow, you pulled Cody Mock out of your ass. Huh?
Oh, okay. You didn't even know. Good thing we got Good thing Freddie Benson was here. Yeah, if you want to highlight what's in it again.
7 scrambled eggs, big tub of cottage cheese,
That's foul.
A measurement, just big tub. Quick grits, peanut butter, banana, and Gatorade.
I would throw that up right away.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's a good thing that the Falcons are winning that division and going over 8.5, so.
Well, you can DM Bijan and be like, whoa, come on, I thought you were going to go for 2,000 yards. Now I got to drink this smoothie. But anyway, so with the hot dog challenge, odds are, with the way I see it going for the Saints and me being the smarter guy in the podcast, Colin's going to be sucking down 12 glizzies probably every weekend because he has a habit of not being able to get them down well. So odds are he'll be doing this challenge a couple times.
Hey, yo, pause.
Well, you just said it yourself.
Hey, yo, pause.
You don't really have a good gut.
I said you're going to be...
He's got a gag reflex.
No, but you were saying about this...
for the 4th of July, Coney...
Well, you were saying about the smoothie that it's going to make you gag, so I imagine that many glizzies would probably make you gag, and
he's used to glizzies.
And we don't want you choking either. We're gonna have an on-staff medic there in case Colin chokes on the glizzies,
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
So somebody will have to fish that glizzy out of his gullet.
All right, next we have Ravens 9.5. Yeah. I'm on over 9.5. Reagan's on the under. This one we got a milk mile. Got to chug a gallon of milk, run a mile. So
I can't even tell you the last time I ran a mile. So hopefully the Ravens.
I ran a mile yesterday.
Hopefully the Ravens.
We're more ready for that one.
Yeah. Although with that, I don't know if running really matters there. It's more so like,
well, it's milk. You know,
it's milk. Yeah,
that's tough.
Like Colin can do as much training as he wants. I think he's puking no matter what.
We are recording all these for you guys to watch too. That's why we picked them out so we can have good content for you guys to see with the punishments.
Yeah, and then if
yakking of milk all over your shirt.
Yeah,
in January.
And we put a little side bet in there.
In the cold.
If the Ravens don't win the Super Bowl, because Colin thinks is so high on the Ravens winning the Super Bowl.
I don't even have him win the Super Bowl.
If he pukes up his milk, he has to eat it up. So
all right, that's just not in there. You know, I don't even have him. I didn't even pick him with the Super Bowl.
Oh, I added that in there for you. So
yeah,
if Colin pukes it up, he's gonna have to eat up that milk chunks.
Yeah, that's foul.
No,
we also have Giants Jets Week 8. Obviously, they're playing each other. Loser has to wear the winner's team's jersey on the pod. So you're gonna look good in this DJ jersey, Reagan. Looking forward to that. Chargers 9.5 wins. Reagan's under. I'm over. And the punishment for that one is we're sticking you in a dog cage for 5 minutes, and we could pour or dump whatever we want on.
Yeah, so this little piggy's gonna go hang out in the cage. I'm gonna be jumping syrup on him. He's like, Look, can I hear your pig noise now?
No, I don't have a good pig noise. You obviously.
We just gotta get him laughing.
You obviously have been squealed.
He's one of those guys who can snort on command. So all you gotta do is get him laughing and add a couple snorts.
Tell me a funny joke and I might let out a snort. But next, Giants playoff berth. I have yes. Reagan has no. Punishment for that one. This is gonna be my favorite because not only Giants can make the playoffs, but Reagan's gotta be my caddy for 9 holes. That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be good for you since I'm so good at
golf.
Smoke
a 6-iron and throw it 20 yards away, so go get it.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to give you advice on what to use because everyone knows you got to listen to your caddy. So I'll be like, yeah, why don't you pull out this putter here on the tee box, and then we'll use the driver on the green. You know?
Yeah, that's great because I won't listen to you, and you just admitted the Giants are making the playoffs. So.
Okay. All right, and then the last one, we got Titans over under 8.5 wins. I'm on the over. Colin's on the under. And the punishment for that is mayo and coffee. So
the Will Levis special. And it's not just a little bit. We're gonna load it up.
Yeah, we'll make sure it's
50-50.
50-50, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a big coffee guy, so I'm sure I'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
But I'm not even worried. Oh, I like mayo too. So for me, it's
I'm a big mayo guy.
So I guess I'm hoping the Titans have a bad season, so I get to do an excuse to try that out.
Yeah. that's bold, you know. All right.
Oh shucks, they didn't win 8.5 games. I guess I'll have to try 2 things I like.
Yeah, well, it's just
I don't think you like them together.
It's a disgusting combo.
I don't think I'll like it together, but we'll see. But yeah, so if you guys have any more ideas for punishments, we'll probably end up making more bets, and we're going to be looking for punishment ideas throughout the season. So drop that in the comments on any of the videos or wherever you're listening or watching to this, and we will check them out. So with that being said, we're going to hop over and get into some questions from you guys. So without further ado, Joe, what are the questions?
You love that one.
You guys want to start?
That's a chirp. That's a
he
chirp
loves
idea.
beating the dead horse with questions.
No, that wasn't a question. That was a statement.
I mean, with statements. My bad.
Yeah, that's right, Freddie. Stay behind the camera.
All right, what do we got?
Do we want to start with fantasy or gambling questions?
You choose.
Yeah, just let them fly.
You choose.
Okay.
You're the question master.
Pick the best ones.
All right. Well, what's your guys' favorite prop bet this week? Question from Evan Bordeaux.
Oh, shout out Evan.
Bortois.
Favorite prop? That's really good.
So for me, I will go with. Why don't we say something for tomorrow's game? Because.
Well, yeah, I have one for tomorrow's game, but he said for the week, not just for tomorrow.
For the week. Okay. I'll give. I haven't really done a lot of this yet.
I love. I'll give you a couple that I personally like. I think Eckler scores. The total in that game is 51, very high. I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think Austin Eckler usually punches it in. So I like Eckler to score. I also like, if you're looking for more of a juicier one, I like Sky Moore.
Give me the juice.
To score tomorrow. With Kelsey out, Sky Moore has been getting strictly first-team reps. They said some other receivers are in packages, while Sky Moore and MVS, the 2 guys they're running with, as their ones. So I think I could see him get a jet sweep or a little RPO action in the red zone. Pat Mahomes also, I'll get into some stats in a bit, but he is phenomenal in week 1. The guy does not throw any interceptions, multiple touchdown passes every game. I'm still not sold on this Lions defense, so of all the receivers, I like Sky more.
Yeah, my prop I like. I just took a quick glance at it. Chris Jones obviously is not going to be playing tomorrow. I don't think even if he were to sign the contract today, I don't think he'd be playing
there's
tomorrow.
no way he plays tomorrow.
So
he could.
like David Montgomery over 52.5 rushing yards. I like it a lot because, I think they're going to use him more as the runner between the tackles, and they might use Gibbs. I think they'll still give Gibbs a lot of carries, but I think starting out like that, they paid Montgomery this money. They want him to be the more running back type, and they want Gibbs in the slot and as a third down back. I think for him to get over 52.5 yards, it's not really crazy, especially with Jones out.
I actually would prefer taking Montgomery to score because I think he's going to take that Jamal Williams role when they get down, and I think it's going to be a shootout. And that's plus 100. I personally took Gibbs at plus 150.
I was thinking that, but I don't really like taking the touchdown bets just because they're so unpredictable. Yeah, exactly. It's so unpredictable. So I'd rather take the yards where it's something where it's like, all right, like he doesn't have to need the perfect storm to score. So,
makes sense.
So I think just through pure volume, 10 carries, you can get that easily.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Good question, Bordeaux.
All right, we got a question from Matt Scherf. He wants to know, what team do you guys have on upset alert week 1?
That's good.
So my big upset pick, I'm in one of these pools that you can do where you have to take an underdog and you have to take a favorite. And the upset I've been liking a lot is actually the Dolphins to beat the Chargers.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's a 3-point spread.
Because
that could go. That's a good game.
It's not a big spread, and I don't even know. But if you want something more more of an upset than that,
there's a lot of close spreads this week. The only real big one is Houston, Baltimore.
So
Commanders,
if you want something that's more of an upset, not like a coin flip based off the home field advantage. I kind of like the Bucs to upset the Vikings.
That was the one I was looking at too. I mean, the upset that I really like, but it's not a huge spread, is I like the Packers over the Bears.
Yeah, and that's
but it's like a 2-point spread. I mean, they're all close, but I like Packers over Bears, and then I guess I could see. I actually have the Vikings winning straight up, but the Bucs covering, so I think that's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, I think the Bucs might come out.
The Vikings got so lucky in 1-score games last year.
Yeah,
I still.
I just don't think the Vikings are as good as.
No, their defense isn't good,
and the Bucs still have a lot of big names, and
they still have talent on
Baker
defense.
Plays
for sure.
Anything like he did with the Rams last year, I think they'll be able to compete in a lot of games this year. So, I don't think the Vikings on paper are that much better than the Bucs. So, all right,
good question.
All right, we got a question from Big G. How do you feel about Pittsburgh upsetting the 49ers?
Well, I wouldn't feel as good about it now that Nick Bosa just signed. But I saw a lot of people around the Steelers. They beat Cincinnati last year in week 1. They always play teams tough.
And it's home for them as well.
And it's home. They still got a really good defense. A lot of people are high on the Steelers this year, and Kenny Pickett, that year 2 jump. I don't know. I just go back to how dominant the Niners were when they got McCaffrey last year until both their quarterbacks went down. And even though it's a really tight game and I think it's going to be a close game, I still think the Niners get the job done and cover.
Yeah, I wouldn't be that shocked if they upset them just because the Steelers' defense is still elite. TJ Watt's healthy now.
Yeah.
And from all they've been saying about Pickett is that he's starting to show flashes of taking the next step. So if he were to come out and the defense can limit the 49ers offense, and plus it's still Brock Purdy. I'm not 100% sold on him.
I'm not either.
About you. I know he had the crazy record last year, so it's hard to not be sold on him, but I wouldn't be that shocked if they upset him.
I wouldn't be either. The Niners got upset last year in week 1 to the Bears in that monsoon. So
and I'm higher on the Steelers than probably most people this year. I have them as, spoiler, one of my playoff teams.
A lot of people in Good Morning Football had the Steelers making the playoffs.
Well, when Tomlin, how many losing seasons has Tomlin had? Yeah, so exactly that. But all right, what's next for us?
Got a fantasy question from Kyle Curley. Who would you start this week, Perrine or McKinnon?
Oh, Pirine or McKinnon? I would go with I would go with Pirine just because I think Javonte Williams is going to be super limited.
They're saying they're easing it back in.
They're going to ease him back in. Pirine's going to be the third down back there. He was phenomenal when he was doing it for the Bengals, and I think with the Raiders, they're not going to be. I expect the Broncos to blow him out this week, so I think they're going to be up, and I think they're going to be giving Pirine a lot of opportunities. I think he has a chance to get in not once but twice this weekend.
Wow, I like it. Also, with the Raiders, Chandler Jones is not practicing. There's a huge dispute. I don't know if you guys saw his social media posts.
Yeah.
If you haven't, go on Twitter. They're crazy. but he's not with the team, so rookie Tyree Wilson's going to have to step up. I would go Pirine as well, just because the Chiefs use Pacheco and McKinnon like interchangeably, and
Clyde's still there too.
I mean, yeah, but Clyde sucks. I wouldn't be surprised if McKinnon like scored 3 touchdowns. I wouldn't be surprised if he had like 30 yards. You know, he's just so spotty. I think Pirine's going to get the bulk of the work.
Yeah, and I think you're at a point. It's the season hasn't even started yet. You don't have to take these like high risk,
risky.
high reward players.
McKinnon's riskier.
You can go safely with that pick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Coco wants to know who knows more about football, Colin or Reagan.
Wow, that's a great question,
Coco. I mean, as you've seen, I'd say me, because more of my stuff's genuine. This guy just steals stuff from Warren Sharp and acts like he understands football.
I do research and form my own opinions off of stats.
Yeah, so you tell me, do you trust the guy who talks gut, or do you talk the guy, who just goes off of stats?
You just shit out opinions, throw them on the wall, and hope.
See, I view it as I know more. Like he's better at like playing on the field, but I'm definitely better at watching. So I've been doing it for a lot longer. I did it in high school, so I'd say I'm definitely better at watching football and having knowledge about it. So.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's also... I mean, Coco, you know anyway, so you already know.
He also wanted to know who you guys have in the Super Bowl. So who's winning it all, and he also wants to know the score.
We'll get there. That's next segment.
All right.
Stay tuned. We're gonna sweat it out.
Final score predictions. It's a wild ass.
Final score predictions.
But you know I'll throw it out there anyway for you, Coco.
All right, we got Hugh Chavez. The boy.
All right, Hugh, what do you got?
He's got a fantasy question. Who do you prefer this year, Waddle or Olave?
That's a really good question, because both are young, on the uprising, but I would say Olave is the number 1 in his offense. Waddle's the number 2, but I'd still lean Waddle, assuming Tua is healthy. I mean, he was just phenomenal last year, and I do think Olave is going to be really good this year too. Especially, now that Carr is there, he's better than what was there last year. But I just like the Miami offense better.
I'm going Olave just because the schedule's so easy for the Saints this year. He is the number 1 wide receiver. We don't even know, like, Mike Thomas is back, but, like, how many games is he actually going to play?
Yeah, I mean,
like, it's hard. It's one of those guys where it's like we can't assume he's going to play a full season. And on top of that, I mean, Olave was second or third in Rookie of the Year votings, but still, he was one of the Rookie of the Year finalists, and I think with better quarterback play that he didn't have last year. And is going to get now with Derek Carr. I think he's going to have a big season, and I think the Saints are going to be able to.
Yeah, I think they both have big
seasons. Be in a lot of good games where he can have a good year. So,
Waddle
and also, I'd just rather take the guy that's going to get, I'd imagine, more targets and more of a target share in his offense.
I don't know. I mean, Waddle led the league in targets the year before, and then Tyreek comes last year, and then Waddle leads the league in yards per catch. So
yeah, we'll see. But I feel like yards per catch is one of those stats that isn't exactly what's the word I'm looking for? Like one of those things that is like. Can happen year to year. It's like it's interchangeable every year because all it takes is like
with a big play threat like that. Yeah,
but I mean, all it takes is a couple big plays, and that number's like a lot higher. And all it takes is for defenses to adjust to it and him not to get 280,
well, they didn't adjust
70, 80-yard touchdowns. But
they didn't adjust yet. And when you have Tyreek on the opposite side drawing all that attention, he gets a lot of.
You're right. Well,
who do you guys think is going to be the number 1 fantasy player this week?
This week. Okay.
Whose
now, is that like most points?
It
could be a quarterback, just on most points.
Let's just not say a quarterback because that's kind of pointless.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll give you the number 1 flex this week.
Yeah, number 1 flex play.
Huh. Well, going based off of Matt. I mean, I don't want to be chalky with it, so I'll try to give you... Let's see. I mean, I think... You're going to have to give me a minute to think.
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
That's really good.
I mean, you could go chalky because he is asking who the number 1 scorer is going to be.
I'm going to go Austin Eckler. I think he scores multiple touchdowns. I think he has a lot of receptions, and I really like what Kellen Moore is going to do with this offense. With all those weapons out there, they're going to spread them out. Eckler's going to get a lot of opportunities. I think he punches in twice, maybe 3 times. I'm going to go Eckler. And if you ask me quarterback, I'm going to go Lamar. I think he's going to run all over Houston.
All right. This is one that you guys might not like too much.
This is going to be a fly.
It's a little out there, but I'm going to go with Tony Pollard. I think he might lead. I think he might lead. And might have the most points this week. Hear me out. Giants historically always get destroyed when they play Dallas by the running backs. It seems like. I remember Zeke always scored a touchdown. Guess who's gone? Zeke. So I could see Tony Pollard easily going for 2 touchdowns against the Giants.
Zeke did always score a touchdown.
He's very electrifying, and I think he's going to be heavily involved. They really didn't bring anyone else in, like who's his comp, Deuce Vaughn. So it's not exactly like they have this like goal line back that's going to come hawk the work this week. So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, Zeke did always score against the Giants, so, I mean, I think chances are Pollard will score too.
But I'm sure if I did more research, I'd like someone better, but just first glance.
The only problem with that, though, is we haven't seen Pollard be an in-between-the-tackle kind of back, and he's always, like, out in space. They're getting the ball outside. Like, who's going to take those short yardage touches? We still don't know. Those goal line touches, can Pollard be that back? So that's like, kind of the unknown aspect to
over
it.
200 pounds, but I get what you're saying. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's just not his play style. Yeah, it's just not his play style.
All right. Any more?
Yeah, our last set of questions are from Jared Crampton.
You want to ask him
yourself?
We got him
here. Jared's a guest in the studio today.
Jared, say hi.
Hello. Do you guys think that Jameson Williams has league-winning potential at the end of this year?
Yeah, I mean, I stashed him. People are taking kickers and defense. I'm like, let me just plunk Jameson Williams right now. I mean, that's exactly what the Lions need in their offense. Someone to stretch the field. Amon-Ra works so well underneath in the intermediate routes. They need someone to stretch the field. And he has that big play potential. I mean, we're all still waiting to see it. If he can do it consistently, stay healthy, and, not drop the ball. But he's what they need. And that's a high-powered offense. I think why take a kicker in round 12 when you take Jameson Williams?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he has the league-winning ability, but I definitely like taking the shot on him. I mean, he's suspended for so long, and at the point you're talking about in fantasy, you might as well take the shot on him.
Yeah,
We know the Lions are going to be a good team, and if the off chance St. Brown's to get injured, who else is there? Then he would be slotted in as a wide receiver 1 right away.
Yeah.
So I think it's a low risk, high reward situation. So
there's definitely not a lot of depth in that receiver
room. I know as I play best ball, you play best ball. I took him in a lot of spots because that's kind of how you win leagues, is taking the shots at the end of those drafts.
And one more. Who is your dark horse to lead the NFL in TDs? Flex player, not quarterback.
Dark horse. Wow.
I like that. That's a good question.
That's a really good question. Dark horse to lead the league in touchdowns. I'm going to go...
Let me guess. Bijan Robinson?
No. I'm going to go... I don't know how big of a dark horse this is. I'm going to go Nick Chubb.
It's not a dark horse, but... So, try again. I'm not trying to be... He asked for a dark horse. That's like... He's definitely like one of the favorites to lead the league in touchdowns.
Okay.
Well. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just going off the question. I'm not trying to be like that, but... I would say a dark horse would be Miles Sanders, a true dark horse, because they don't really have any other running backs there. Their wide receiver core isn't great. They went out and paid him to be the guy. He doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on him, and last year he had his best season, so can he keep putting it together? Their line's not terrible over there, so I think he could be a dark horse. I'm not saying, because that's the question, a dark horse.
All right, I'm just gonna go David Montgomery, fill the Jamal Williams role. No one thought Williams was going to do it last year. He had 17 touchdowns. No one thought he was going to do it, and I think Gibbs replaces Swift, Montgomery replaces Williams. They punch the ball in a lot because they have a dominant offensive line.
Yeah, that's a good dark horse. I agree. All right.
Thanks, man. I'm glad you approve.
I like this last question that you wrote here, Jared. What team do you think disappoints most this year?
Oh, I like that too.
It's a good one.
Well, I think a lot of people are high on the Bears. I think they're going to be bad again. A lot of people are really high on the Lions. I do have the Lions sneaking in the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be as good as people think.
Yeah.
And then I think a popular pick would be the Jets. A lot of people are really high on them, but I still have them sneaking in too.
Yeah, my disappointment team is the Ravens, actually. I'm just not buying into the hype at all. Like, that's why I have as my disappointment. And maybe there's really not a disappointment, but if they don't make the playoffs, it's a disappointment. Like, they could still go out and win 9 games and miss the playoffs. That's how good the AFC is, and I don't have them making the playoffs, so that's who I see being a disappointment. I just find it hard to believe that Lamar can play 17 games with what we've seen the past couple of years. And everyone says the wide receiver core is massively upgraded, but, I mean, they drafted Zay Flowers. We see rookie wide receivers in the first round not pan out, especially speedy ones all the time. Odell Beckham Jr., he's old. Bateman hasn't been able to stay healthy, so there's a lot of big question marks there.
Wait. What are you talking about? What the fuck's your argument about Zay Flowers? We see speedy ones not work out all the time. That's not even his game, bro. He's a route runner. He's not a burner. He didn't run
I thought he was a burner.
He didn't run a 4.2. He's a pure route runner.
Oh my gosh. Discredit me now.
College ball.
You're just putting him in a bucket.
I thought he was a speed wide receiver.
Bucket with like John Ross.
I was. That's what I was going for.
Like, he's not a pure downfield threat. He's more of a nuanced route runner. He's 5'9".
I'm sorry. I'm not even. Anyway, discredit that point. But my whole thing is, it's a lot of unproven there. They have Bateman, who hasn't been able to stay healthy. We don't know what Zay Flowers will be. And Odell Beckham Jr. is aging and coming off an injury. But if they can put it all together, sure, they can make the playoffs. But I'm not buying into the hype.
They win a ton of games when he's throwing to James Prochet and Demarcus Robinson. So
okay, well,
I'm high on Baltimore.
See. Yeah, we know you are. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be back. Hey, guys. Our guy Ed from Masterpiece Designs hooked me up with some shirts. As you can see here, he hooked me up with this nice shirt. The material's awesome, and we're going to be using him for when we make the shirts for Around the Felt. My brother Garrett, the guy who does all the graphics for us, he's going to be designing some stuff soon to send to Ed, so we're going to be putting out shirt orders as well as Colin's favorite, the trucker hat. So stay tuned for that and keep checking our social medias to fill out your order form. Thank you.
Can't wait for that trucker hat. Welcome back in. Like Reagan mentioned, we have merch coming soon. Shout out to Ed from Masterpiece Design. Now we're going to segue into our playoff predictions and award predictions. I'll start us off. Let's start with the AFC.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Let's see what you got, kid.
The Chiefs as the 1 seed. Until they show me that they're not going to be, I'm going to take them as the 1 seed. Trust Pat Mahomes. They're going to get the first round bye. 2, I have Baltimore. This is where Reagan and I disagree very much. I think they're going to win the division, even though they're the same record as the Bengals, but I have a little twist for you in a little bit that you'll see. In the 3, I have the Buffalo Bills. I still trust Josh Allen. The team's been there. They've been elite for several years, so I still think they pull it out in the East. 4th, I have the Jaguars. I just think that division's brutal. They're clearly the best team, so I think they're going to get it done. In the 5, I have the Bengals, who have the same record as the Ravens, but with a tiebreaker, I do have the Ravens with a higher division record. 6, I got the Chargers. I do believe in Justin Herbert. I think Kellen Moore is a huge addition for that team. They're going to open up the offense, allow Herbert to use that arm with those weapons, adding Quentin Johnston. I like the offensive line. Hopefully they have Bosa and Khalil Mack healthy, so I like the Chargers. And finally, I have the Jets. It was between the Jets and the Dolphins for me. I just think what I'm seeing from Aaron Rodgers, he just looks rejuvenated. I'd be very surprised if they don't make the playoffs because they do have an elite defense as well. As much as it pains me to say, I do think the Jets get in. Even though I think they get off to a bit of a slow start, and if they do, don't worry. Their schedule's very tough to start, but it does loosen up at the end. And like I mentioned, they got some scheduling quirks in there. Jets will get it done. They'll have a good second half of the season.
Yeah, don't worry. I won't be worrying, so I appreciate that. All right, so I can respect that outside of the Ravens. I can respect the rest of that. So here is mine. I actually have the Bengals slated in at the 1 seed. I'm not too worried about Joe Burrow's injury. I mean, it said he's been practicing all week and he's scheduled to play this week.
Yeah, he said he's playing.
I'm not terribly worried about that. Obviously, if he is to miss time, then I'm probably going to be wrong. But assuming he doesn't miss time, I could see them being the 1. Then I got my Jets at number 2, followed by Kansas City at 3, the Titans at 4, which a lot of you are going to be like, that's bold, but
it is bold.
I really do think they can win out the division.
But they show they can win under Vrabel.
Yeah, I don't want to, like, a team that could go to overtime with Kansas City with Malik Willis as their quarterback is a team I think is going to be good this year. Like, the fact that they were able to play Kansas City that tight last year with him, who showed he's not comparable, or I don't even know what I'm trying to say here, but not a good quarterback for NFL standards kind of shows you that this team's got grit to them. So I think
they're
with
a gritty
Ryan
ball
Tannehill
club.
back,
They're damn sure
the addition
a
of
gritty ball
DeAndre
club.
Hopkins and Derrick Henry still being a beast, I think they can sneak into the playoffs.
I will say the one thing that worries me with Titans is they just seem very old, and at some point Father Time's going to catch up. Tannehill's old, DeAndre Hopkins old, Henry's old. They got some old guys in that defense as well, so that's my biggest concern with them is Father Time.
And then at my 5th seed, I got the Bills. I think them and the Jets are going to be neck and neck for that division, but I have the Jets slightly edging them out, but that could go either way with the division winning. And then 2 picks that a lot of people might be surprised with. I have the Broncos coming in at the 6th seed.
Wow.
Yeah. No.
I like it. I think Denver's going to be good this year. I think they're going to be around 500. They just, have a tough schedule and play some good teams.
All they need is for Russell Wilson to be average or slightly average from last year because that defense is so good. So if he just plays somewhat better in the new system with a healthy Javonte Williams, hopefully Jerry Jeudy comes back soon. healthy. Obviously, they're already dealing with the injuries a little bit on the offense, but it's more so I just think Russ has to do a little bit more
in front of Russ.
Yeah, and I think Sean Payton being there will help out a lot.
Yeah, Sean Payton's a phenomenal coach. So.
And then number 7, another shocker to some, I'm sure. I got the Steelers. Even though Tomlin's never had a losing season, so it's hard for me to, like you said, we go off his stats here a lot. So the fact that they've never had a losing season makes me think they're going to go 9-8, and all they have to do is win 1 or 2 more from there to get into the playoffs. So.
I don't hate the Steelers pick either. It's such a loaded conference that, I mean, you could argue 10 teams to get in, and I wouldn't be mad.
No, honestly, I think you can make a case for every team but the Texans, the Colts, and the Raiders, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, even the Patriots, they have such a high floor because of Belichick and their defense, you know? So. They have such a high floor that they'll probably be around 500 as well. So, I'd have to agree with that.
All right, so who do you got for the NFC?
NFC, I have the Eagles taking the 1 seed down again. I just think that roster's so loaded. Although, if there's going to be a step back, I think it's because of the loss of both coordinators. More so Steichen than Gannon. But that would be my only concern there. I have the Niners at 2. Still not sold on Purdy, like you mentioned earlier, but that roster's just so loaded. I mean, they have arguably the best left tackle, arguably the best edge rusher, arguably the best running back, arguably the best linebacker. It's just absolutely loaded. And they have these guys signed for a while, too, because they still have rookies on quarterbacks on rookie deals. I still think the Niners are going to be dominant. 3, this one's bold. I have the Atlanta Falcons. I have them as division winner, even though I think I have 2 wildcard teams that will be better than them. But I think they win that division. I like their floor, just the way they play. Arthur Smith doesn't have a flashy offense. I'd love for him to open it up a bit more and use Kyle Pitts and Drake London, who you invested top 10 picks in. But with that run game, the way they play, they improved the defense. I do think Atlanta wins that division.
Well, you know how I feel about that, but
we've
already talked about that enough.
In the North, I have the Green Bay Packers winning that division.
That's
another shock.
A bold take.
Everyone's very high on the Lions, and I do have the Lions sneaking in. You know, a little teaser there, but I just think the Packers have the best defense in the division by far. I don't trust Chicago's, I don't trust the Lions, and I don't trust Minnesota's. I think Minnesota takes a big step back this year. Too many one-score games last year. And I have Green Bay winning the division. And I think Jordan Love, I mentioned they play the easiest schedule of opposing defenses this year. They have a great offensive line in front of them. If those young bucks, the young weapons, Jordan Love, can play good football, they'll be able to run the ball. I think Green Bay squeaks it out in the division.
Wow.
5th, I have my New York Football Giants getting back in. They went 9-7-1 last year.
Oh, so this is how you don't caddy for me. Them making the playoffs.
Yeah, they're making the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Even though the schedule's tougher, they improved the roster tremendously based on what their weaknesses were last year, and that's stopping the run and explosive plays on offense. So they added speed, and they added guys to stop the run. Their defensive front is elite. They can stay healthy. Ojulari, Thibodeau, with Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, better depth with Ashawn Robinson. I like the linebackers, Okereke. You added Isaiah Simmons that hopefully Wink uses very well. I like the Giants to get back in. 6, I have the Cowboys. I do think they take a pretty big step back this year. They're not winning 12 games. Biggest downgrade for me is McCarthy calling plays and not Kellen Moore. I don't trust him. He wants to play old school football and run the ball when what they lost was Zeke, who was their short down back, and although he wasn't great or explosive, he still filled a big role for that team that I don't know how they're going to fill it. So I don't trust McCarthy. But that defense is elite, so that defense is going to be able to dominate again, and I think they are still a playoff team. Last but not least, I was stuck between the Lions and Hawks, but I have the Lions getting in just because I like that offense a ton. I don't really trust Geno Smith this year. I think he takes a step back, so I'm going with the Lions getting this last spot.
Yeah, that's definitely shocking, you not having the Seahawks, but I get it. I respect it. So for me, I have the Eagles coming at the 1 seed also. I think we're both in agreement there. Number 2, I actually have the Saints. I think with that, as easy as their schedule is, I think they're going to have a big year. Obviously, I've been beating it a lot.
Wow.
I've been...
Better record than pause. Hey, yo, pause.
But obviously, I've been saying it a lot with how good I think the Saints are going to be this year.
Goodness.
And then at number 3, I actually have the Seahawks, who I talked about earlier in the NFC West episode. I had them edging out the 49ers, both going 11-6, but I had them winning the tiebreaker. So, And then at my 4 seed, I have the Lions. I'm buying into the hype. I know you said you're not fully buying into it, even though you had them at the 7. I just think they're the most talented team in the division still.
Their over-under is 9.5. I have them at 9 and 8, so it's right there.
No, I know.
I still think people have them going winning 11, 12 games a little aggressive.
And I'm not as sold on the other teams in the division, and I really like what I saw at the second half. 5, 49ers. I mean, you could make a case that they'd be the 1 seed in this conference, but I have them slotted in at 5. 6 for me was Dallas. Like we said, they win a lot of games typically. They're pretty good in the regular season. I don't see them going far, but they're just so talented on paper. It's kind of hard to not have them in there.
I'd see another second-round exit.
And my bold take, I had to add a team in there, and after looking at it all, I had the Panthers actually making it in there.
Oh, my God.
I know. I really do like their defense a lot. And they like I said, the NFC South schedule is super easy. They have a really good defense. They
all play each other.
Yeah, well, and that's just it. I actually only have them going 9 and 8, so it's not. They're just squeaking in, and I just think with how strong their defense is and what the hope I have for Bryce Young is, I think this is a team that could go out and win a couple games and sneak into the playoffs.
I do like Bryce Young. I think the
Frank
Panthers
Wright as a coach too.
I think they start out slow, but I think they heat up at the end of the year. Their schedule softens up. Frank Reich's teams always start off slow. Bryce Young and him have an early bye. They can get some games under his belt, and I think the Panthers will be good in the second half of the year.
And I'm hoping they give Brian Burns what he wants. Otherwise, it's going to make
pay that man.
It's going to make this take look a lot worse than it actually is.
All right, what's your Super Bowl matchup? Who do you got?
So for me,
say the points. Coco wants to know the score.
So the points. I actually have the Jets beating the Eagles.
Jets fan has the Jets winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah. But, I mean, the way I look at it is they're obviously one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. What kind of fan am I if I don't say they're going to win it? You all know I'm biased towards my team, as you kind of are with the Giants. You might not be as biased as me, but as a fan, I got to say it. I mean, I got to go with my Jets, and I have them beating the Eagles. I also have the Eagles getting back there. And we'll go with 30-23.
Okay.
By a touchdown.
I like it. That's a high-scoring game. That's fun. I have, I mentioned earlier, I have the Ravens winning the division, but I actually have the Bengals getting through the AFC.
What?
I have the Bengals as a wild card getting through the AFC on the road. Road Warriors, Joe Burrow. I think it's his time. I think he's going to get a Super Bowl this year, and I have him beating the Niners.
Okay. What's your score for Coco?
I'm going to go 27-24. Bengals over Niners.
Wow.
Close
okay.
game.
Write it down.
I'm writing it down. Taking a mental note.
Good. All right. And now let's go into
our
awards. MVP. I have Lamar Jackson. I have the Ravens winning 12 games. I think Lamar's going to finally stay healthy for a full season. They win a ton of games. When he's healthy, it's the best supporting cast he's had. Still an elite offensive line. He got paid. He's happy. Lamar Jackson gets a second MVP.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously you highlighted that a lot in our AFC North breakdown, our first ever episode, how you thought that would be something that could happen.
Yep.
So I respect it. You're sticking to your guns. You're sticking with Lamar and your whole Ravens thing. And just like you're doing, I'm doing that with Derek Carr and the Saints. I think Derek Carr is going to win the MVP. He's at plus 3,000 to be the MVP.
The elite Derek Carr?
The elite Derek Carr.
And the non-elite Justin Herbert.
Yes. Well, Derek Carr is going to show why he is elite. Wow. Even though, I'll be honest.
That answers your previous question.
Justin Herbert's elite. I just sounded like an idiot by wording it that way. He is elite, but I do not think he's in the same category. Like I said already,
we don't have to open up that can of worms again.
I'm just saying he is elite, so I just want to take that back. But yeah, no, I think Derek Carr could be an MVP. He's been a guy that would have won an MVP award if it wasn't for an injury at the end of the year.
What, like 7 years ago?
Still, I mean, we've seen him play at the. It doesn't matter. I mean, we still seen him play at that level. I mean, you could say that for the Lamar. What was he an MVP 4 years ago?
It's a lot different. Lamar's in his prime.
Fine.
Derek Carr is old now.
Okay. I mean, we've seen MVPs be in their late 30s before. I don't think Derek Carr's super old.
So now he's on the same level as Aaron Rodgers?
That's not what I'm saying, dude. But your whole point was he's super old, so he can't do it. I'm sorry. You know what? I'll go chalk, guys. Patrick Mahomes is going to be your MVP.
That's me.
No,
I respect that hard.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a hot take. I mean, he's plus 3,000, but I just think with the ability the Saints have to have a good season this year, and I think he could have a better year. Obviously, he's had 2 rough years in a row with the Raiders, and I don't blame that on him fully. I mean, it's partly him, but a lot of it has to do with the circumstances, the coaching changing, players just being idiots, and a lot of stuff there. But
well, I guess if you're right about the Saints being better than the Niners, then Derek Carr must have played his ass off. So
the Niners.
You have the Niners.
Oh yeah, I do have them having a better record. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if the Niners were in that division, I might have them going 17-0 with that schedule, in fairness. So that's more so. I think if they win the playoffs, the Niners are killing them. I'm going to be honest. That's more of their schedule than their talent.
Offensive Player of the Year. I have Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, this award, usually the MVP goes to an offensive player, and the Offensive Player of the Year is kind of like the second best offensive player, like the best position player that's not a quarterback. Yeah. I'm going to go with McCaffrey. I think he was absolutely elite when the Niners got him last year. They didn't lose after like his first game when they got there, and that was the Chiefs. He's going to be a huge part of that offense in the running game and passing game. I think he can get close to another 1,000 season like he had in Carolina a few years back.
That's a good take. I could have said him too. I don't hate that at all. Mine's another bold one. I went with St. Brown from the Lions.
Wow.
I think he could go for.
I like that pick.
I think he could go for over 100 catches this year and over 1,500 yards.
He should, honestly.
I think he's obviously the best player on that offense. They're going to need him a lot, and I think he's going to. I mean, if he can go out and get 1,500 yards to 100 catches, maybe score 10 times, it's a lot to ask for, but he certainly has shown that he's one of the better wide receivers in the league. I'd say at this point he's top 10, I'd say. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Garrett Wilson.
Well, can't take all Jets, but I do like him a lot, too. I would consider him as well.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, I got Bijan Robinson. If you listen to our NFC South episode, I highlighted just how dominant that Atlanta run game was. Algier ran for 1,000 yards, a fifth-round rookie. Bijan's just a different talent. He's a blue-chip player. He's going to be elite in this offense. I wouldn't be surprised if he eclipsed 1,500 rushing yards. He got close to 2,000 total yards in that offense.
I should probably get a chalkboard for my basement because you already got the chalk with all your picks. You're super chalky, all these picks.
How is that chalk? Lamar's plus 1,500, McCaffrey, and Bijan's just the obvious pick, in my opinion.
Okay.
You can go with a quarterback.
Well, going off of not chalk, here's a hot take for you. I think Clayton Tune could win it.
Oh, I thought we weren't doing this.
No, I'll give you Clayton Tune's my hot pick guy. If you're into gambling, I think you throw a little bit on him and get better value as the season goes along.
He got beat out by Josh Dobbs.
All right,
winning Rookie of the Year.
The guy that I think will win it goes with my Panthers being the 7 seed. I'm going Bryce Young, just because I think that if the team makes the playoffs, how do you not give the quarterback the award?
That's fair. I think it could be a similar. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a similar situation with when Saquon was a rookie and Baker Mayfield. They both had phenomenal rookie years, and it's that quarterback running back. Like, who do you give it to? And it was a tight race.
Yeah.
I went with Bijan. You went with Bryce Young, so.
Well, yeah, just because I have him making the playoffs. I was thinking Stroud, too, but I'm like, if I have the Panthers making the playoffs, he's obviously going to get it.
Yeah, I think
and if
Young,
you have the Falcons making the playoffs, there's a good chance he's going to get it.
And I think Young has a much higher chance of succeeding in year one than Stroud.
Yeah. Well, yeah, look at the teams, yeah. All right, Depoy, who do you got?
This pains me to say, I have Micah Parsons. He's been knocking on the door. They kind of feel like they don't want to give us the same guy back-to-back years besides, Aaron Donald, but we've seen TJ Watt get his. We've seen Bosa get his. Myles Garrett's always knocking the door too. I was kind of tempted to go Myles Garrett, but I'm going to go Micah Parsons. I think he gets close to 20 sacks this year.
All right, so you're probably going to call me a homer for this pick, but I'm taking Sauce. Good odds. He's one of the favorites to win it right now. Best corner in football. All he needs to do is get those interception numbers up. I mean, clearly, as an all-pro, as a rookie, he's already insane. So if he takes an even bigger jump this year, gets the interceptions up, continues to not allow a lot of yards, have a low completion percentage, and get a ton of pass breakups, which he led the league in last year, I think he has a good chance to do.
Yeah,
he's going to have a similar season to Stephon Gilmore, but I think he could do it.
Yeah, if a DB does it, they have a historic year. Sauce is definitely capable of, like you said, a lot of pass defense last year. If he turns those into more interceptions, gets over 5. If he gets up to like 7 or 8, he could be the front.
Plus,
runner.
It's hard for me with the edge rushers because there's so many guys you could say.
So many edge rushers to pick, man.
So I tried to at least go with a corner. I think had the potential to do it because all those edge rushers, it's like there's so many guys that are capable of going out and getting 15 to 20 sacks.
Absolutely, and then it's hard.
Will they do it? I don't know, but capable of it, yeah. There's a lot of guys capable of pushing the 20 number.
Defensive Rookie of the Year, I got Will Anderson Jr. Houston traded up for him and gave up their first-round pick next year, so he's clearly the best player in that front right away as well. He was dominant at Alabama in his sophomore season at 17.5 sacks and 34, I think it was 34, 38 TFL, so the talent's there. It's tough to pick a rookie corner. We saw Sauce do it, but so many first-round corners I feel like just don't pan out right away. It's a very tough position to transition to in the league.
Yeah,
so,
look at Stingley last year. It didn't work out for him.
It's really tough for rookie corners to translate, and I didn't know. I don't like Witherspoon right away. He's not even playing week 1, and it's a big zone to man scheme shift. Gonzalez would have been tough. Tay Banks would have been tough.
No,
yeah. So I went with the pass
pick.
rusher. I went Will Anderson Jr. I think he might be the favorite. So I mean, sorry for the chalk, but it's just in my opinion the clear choice.
I went with a different approach. I went with actually Jack Campbell, the Lions linebacker.
I thought you were going to say Jack Campbell
because I feel like he's a guy that could go out and get 100+ tackles easily. I mean, he's slated in to be the middle linebacker. There's a reason why they went out and took him in the first round, which was a questionable pick. A lot of people questioned it, but the fact that they went out and got him shows that Dan Campbell has an idea for this guy, and I think he could have a great year. I mean,
yeah, I like the thought process.
And honestly, I mean, if he gets 100+ tackles and has a couple interceptions, some pass breakups, I mean, clearly they have a big role for him to put that kind of capital into him. So
yeah, I like it. Coach of the year. This one was tough for me. I went back and forth because there's so many teams that think are going to be good where it's like, but you expect them to be good. Like, okay, you go Sirianni because the Eagles get the 1 seed, or Andy Reid. And I thought about John Harbaugh because I have the Ravens being very good. I actually went with, usually it goes to someone that overexceeds expectations and gets a team in the playoffs that you weren't expecting to. And I went with Matt LaFleur of the Green Bay Packers because I have him win the division, and a lot of people are writing him off, and there's the whole Lions hype train. If Jordan Love comes out and looks like a good NFL quarterback with that defense and they win the division, I wouldn't be surprised if LaFleur wins it.
I like that. And I went similar approach to it. I went Dennis Allen. Obviously, I'm big on the Saints, and I kind of view it as if you weren't in the playoffs last year, you've been struggling a lot. A lot of people questioning the move. If he's able to turn it around with his quarterback and get him into the playoffs in a high seed, how do you not give it to the guy?
Yeah, you're riding the Saints train, but I just don't think Dennis Allen's a good coach at all. So
we'll see.
But if they win 12 games this year, then okay, then he's.
And that's kind of how I looked at it. I figured they're not going to give it to a lot of the guys that have already had success in the past. Like I'm going to rule out like Andy Reid right off the bat, Sirianni. Like I feel like they're not going to give it to him if they can do it again. I don't think you can give it to Dable again unless they have like an insane
unless they win the division or something. If
so
they beat out the Eagles in the division.
I kind of ruled out a lot of the coaches that have won it before, and I looked at situations where it was like on the edge where like, oh, this guy could even be on the hot seat, and I was like, you know what? I'm big on the Saints. If they have a big year, how do you not give it to the guy?
I like it. I mean, you're riding the Saints, baby.
I'm big on the Saints, Lions,
Louisiana.
Apparently, I'm big on the Saints, Lions, and Jets.
Yeah.
So those are my 3 big teams this year. So the last one, Comeback Player of the Year award. Who do you got?
Yeah, I think it's DeMar Hamlin. I mean, what he did coming back last year. I know he's a monster favorite, like minus 700, but I think it's the pretty obvious choice here.
Yeah, I mean, I went with Russell Wilson just because if he's able to turn it around and get the Broncos and to the playoffs after the dumpster fire they had last year. On top of that, he didn't play well. If he can come out and look like Seattle Russ.
I like that pick. If we're eliminating DeMar Hamlin because
I just wanted to eliminate him because it's like
if you take him out of the equation, I do like Russell Wilson. I think it's a great pick.
It's just because like I'm not gonna sit here and tell I'm not faulting you for telling him that. I just rather like if DeMar Hamlin wins it, like I'm fine with that. Like I just wanted to give him a different approach as somebody like I think could win it. I mean, who do you think taking chalk out of it? Who do you think could win it? Do you like Mechie? I mean, he came with cancer.
Came back.
And you got Breece Hall.
Breece Hall could get it.
Javonte, another teammate of his.
Javonte. I mean, I like Russ. I think that's a great pick.
Yeah.
I like Russell Wilson, man.
All right. Well, that kind of wraps up our awards. So we want to take a quick break, and then we'll come back with our Week 1 preview.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
What's up, guys? It's Colin from Around the Felt. If you haven't yet, please check out the golf challenge video. We'd like to do that again. That was a lot of fun, so please leave some feedback. Also, check out the remaining of the Division Breakdown series if you have not seen that. Now let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, no, I really did have a lot of fun doing that golf video. I'm looking forward to doing that a couple more times throughout the season. And then obviously with the division breakdowns, they were super fun to do. But now I'm excited that we can kind of see what we predicted play out throughout the season.
It is fun. It is fun. All that work putting into those videos, and now we get to see whether we were right or brutally wrong.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't checked any of those division breakdowns, check them out now before the season starts. But for now, we got Week 1 finally here. With our opening game tomorrow night. We're recording on a Wednesday, so tomorrow night we got the Lions visiting the Chiefs. The Lions currently at 4.5. How do you see this playing out?
I got a little Patrick Mahomes stat here for you. You know me, Mr. Statistician Nerd over here. In 5 starts in Week 1, since he's been the starting quarterback, he's thrown for 1,542 yards, 18 touchdowns, no interceptions with 136.9 passer rating.
Well, I like that because I have him in fantasy, so I really like that.
In Week 1, I like right now the line moved from 6.5 to 4.5. A lot of people are on the hype train for the Lions, but I like the Chiefs to cover and to win. Even without Kelsey, if he doesn't suit up, which right now he's questionable, and without Chris Jones. I still trust Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid at home. I think, the Lions will be better this year, but I do still think they're overrated, and it's a bit too much to ask for them week 1 on the road in Arrowhead, such a tough place to play. So I do like the Chiefs, and I also like the over 52.5. I expect it to be a shootout, especially with no Chris Jones. I think the Lions are going to have good opportunities to run the ball. You mentioned Montgomery earlier. You like his over rushing yards. I think the Lions, they have a high-powered offense as well. I like a lot of points.
I absolutely love the over. I highlighted it already. Without Chris Jones, that Chiefs run defense is going to be Swiss cheese. I would honestly take the Lions team total over. I would take, like I already said, David Montgomery's rushing yard total over. Even Gibbs, his is like a little bit under 40 yards. I'd take his over. I think the Lions cover, whether it's 4.5 or it jumps back up with Kelsey playing. I still think the Lions cover, but I do think the Chiefs win.
Okay,
and
I like that. I can see winning by a touchdown. In this game. I mentioned earlier, I got Sky Moore to score. I like Sky Moore, and I also like Gibbs to score as well, and Montgomery, but I kind of like Gibbs. They're hyping him up so much, saying that's why we took him. We're using ways you've never seen before, which I find it hard to believe, but yeah, I like Gibbs as well.
All right, so next up we got the 49ers visiting the Steelers. The line set at 49ers as a 2.5-point favorite with an over/under set at 41 points. What are you thinking with this one?
This one's tough, man. You mentioned earlier you like the Steelers. I took the Niners with the 2.5 before Bosa signed the deal, and then when Bosa signed, I felt better about it.
Yeah, this line might change by the time the game starts too. I'm thinking it might change by a point or two.
It could definitely change.
Bodes well for me because I think the Steelers cover this line, and I also think they win. And I'm even more confident if the line goes up to 4.5. I just feel like there's something about this game where why is Vegas have the line so low for a team that we saw dominate last year? 2.5 points. I get it's on the road, but still, something seems a little fishy to me here. And I just think Kenny Pickett's going to be much improved. And Kyle Shanahan's a good coach, but Mike Tomlin's obviously one of the best coaches right now and has proven year in, year out that he's one of the best. So
yeah, I like Tomlin, but my one thing with Pickett is the guy threw 7 touchdowns and 9 picks last year. I think he will be better than that this year. It's tough to be worse. But I think stepping in against arguably the best defense in football week 1 is a tough ask. So I'm still going to go with the Niners.
Think about it. They have been, if there's any game you plan for the most throughout the season, it's the opening game.
Yeah,
so.
No, it is. It is for sure.
So I think that'll help Pickett. He's been planning for the Niners for whole of summer at this point, so.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So next up, we got the Bengals visiting the Browns. They're a 2.5-point favorite, also just like the 49ers in the last game we talked about, and the over/under is set at 47.5 points. So I actually have the Browns covering here, but I have the Bengals winning.
2.5. You have them getting a 1-point win.
Yeah.
So I actually have a stat here I want to throw out, which is why I've gone so back and forth on this. Divisional home underdogs against the spread in Week 1 are 7-0 since 2018, 15-2 since 2012, and 21-5 since 2009. That is wild. I have the Bengals winning the Super Bowl, but we saw last year Burrow was out all of preseason, came in Week 1. They did not look good. Burrow threw multiple interceptions, and they lost to the Steelers in overtime. I still took the Bengals. The Browns have also won 5 of the last 6 versus Cincy, which I couldn't believe when I saw that. But until I see it with Watson, that he's back to what he was in Houston when he was a top 5 quarterback in the league on that terrible 4-win team, I just can't fathom taking the Browns against a team like the Bengals. But I'll say I would not be shocked if they win this game outright.
I kind of was leaning the Browns with spread, and I've been flipping back and forth from the winner. As of now, I'm leaning the Bengals. It might change by the time the game starts, but for me, whenever you're at home in a division game, you already have the advantage already. And on top of that, Joe Burrow, obviously I think he'll be okay for the season long, but is he going to be limited in any capacity? They say he won't be, but maybe even if he's slightly limited, that's still going to have a big effect. So we'll see. But
yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a close game. I have the Bengals by a field goal, so I have them just covering the 2.5. I think it's going to be a very close game till the end.
I think it's going to be super low scoring. 47.5 points is a lot of points. I think this is going to go way under. I think it's going to be both less than 20 points in this game, to be honest. Yeah.
I could see 2017. I could see 23-20.
It just, all those NFC North games typically are low scoring, so I just see this being a defensive battle. And yeah, I think it's going to go way under. So.
I like that pick. Next, we got Bucks-Vikings. Vikings are 6-point favorites at home. Over/under set at 45.5. This one was tough for me too. I actually love the Bucks to cover the 6.
Yeah, me too.
And I was teetering man, could they win straight up? Everyone's writing
I'm taking
them
them straight up
Baker.
to win.
I love Baker Mayfield. That's my guy.
Question.
Their defense will keep him in the game. The Vikings were just I mean, they had so many crazy fourth quarter comebacks last year. It's just not sustainable year over year.
Yeah.
I think they definitely take a step back. I do still think the Vikings squeak it out. I just think Justin Jefferson's that guy. They're gonna get a win, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks win straight up. I do think it's a close game, close in the 6, and the Bucks cover.
Yeah, no, I think the Bucks cover, and I think they win. I just think Baker Mayfield's got something to prove here again. Everyone's writing him off, kind of like he was getting rid off when he went over to the Rams last year, and he played well last year, so it gives me enough confidence that he can step in.
Let's go, Baker. Get it done, baby. Get it done, Baker. I'm rooting for the Bucks.
And, I mean, the Bucks still have a lot of talented guys. I mean, you still have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin as your top 2 wide receivers.
Yeah, you still got Tristan Wirfs to tackle. The defense still has a ton of talent if they can bounce back from last year.
And that, like we said, that Vikings defense
is not good.
Not great. Not good. So, for me, I think this is a smash overplay here for me. I think this is way over 45.5. Or not way over, but I think that line's pretty low for this game. I think with how bad the Vikings defense is and how good their offense is, they're going to allow a lot of points, but they're still going to be able to put up a lot of points.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Oh, by the way, guys, we are keeping track of our picks against the spread and straight up for the season long, so you can see Reagan and I's progress each week, and we're going to kind of have a little competition who can do better. So
yeah,
keep in mind for that. All right, next we got Cardinals, the bottom dwellers of the league, at the Commanders. Commanders have a 7-point favorite.
I think we both agree on this. We both have Commanders winning and covering.
Yeah, Commanders won 8 games last year. Although I'm not super high on them this year, I still have doubts that they can hang with the elite teams.
I mean, their defense is so good, though.
Defense still very talented. That front will
the front. Dominate. Think about how good their front is and how bad. Well, the Cardinals have good tackles, but their
tackles,
interior isn't
terrible.
Great.
Yes,
and Washington has such a good interior that I think they're going to be able to put a lot of pressure on Dobbs. You don't have Hopkins anymore. I mean, James Conner's actually still one of the better running backs in the league, but it doesn't really matter if you can't pass the ball. They're just going to stack the box. So.
Yeah, I mean,
and they really don't even need to stack the box. They're one of the few teams that can rush the quarterback with 4.
I will say, I do have Commanders as well, straight up and against the spread. The total set at 38. If Terry McLaurin's ruled out, I love the under here because even though that Cardinals defense is terrible, it's Sam Howell's. It's not his first start, but it's
second start, yeah.
Second career start. And he's coming in
essentially a rookie.
Opening game, and I don't trust the Cardinals with Josh Dobbs at the helm to really score anything. I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders held him to 3 points. So
it's going to be an ugly game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an ugly game. I like, even though the under is really low, the total's really low, I do like the under, especially if Terry McLaurin's ruled out.
Yeah, no, I agree with the Commanders covering. Over under, that's a tough one. I'm staying away from that completely, but I'm leaning under, but I'm going to stay away from that. So next up, we got the Jaguars, Colts. Jaguars currently 5-point favorites. We both agree on this again. I have the Jaguars covering and winning. Like I said, I am not really big on Anthony Richardson. Well, I do think he could turn it around towards the end of the season. I think he's going to struggle a lot in this game. We saw him struggle in preseason, making some stupid throws and stuff, and I think he might try to force the ball too much. I think the Jaguars are going to get a decent amount of takeaways, and I think 5 points is a low line. I think they easily win this game by double digits. I do think the under hits, though, because I think the Jaguars honestly win this game like 30-10. Wow. And I think it's a blowout, honestly.
Yeah, I like the Jaguars as well. I love Peterson as a coach. They had a good thing rolling at the end of last season. I think Trevor Lawrence picks up right where he left off, and that offense scores a ton of points. And I think it's very tough for a rookie quarterback, rookie head coach duo to get off to a hot start. We saw Richardson. I think he has a very high ceiling long term, and I am high on him in that regard. But early on, I think he will have turnover issues, and without Jonathan Taylor to rely on, I don't think the Colts can be able to keep up with the firepower of Jacksonville.
Yeah, we didn't even Taylor's not playing. He's on the IR for 4 games. So do you really have confidence in this backfield with a bunch of unproven guys? No. If they can't run the ball, and you're just going to make Anthony Richardson go light up the Jaguars defense, which isn't great, but still, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't love the Jacksonville defense necessarily, but if Jacksonville gets up to a 14, even a 10-point lead, and you have to rely on Richardson in the second half to air the ball out, he might make some highlight plays, but I also think he's going to make some mistakes, and it's a tough ask.
Yeah.
For him to bring you back from behind.
All right, so next up we got your Falcons.
Love this play.
At home
Love
against
this
the Panthers,
play, baby.
3.5-point favorites. Over-under set at 39.5. Another division game, so I can see why the line's pretty low. So why don't you say why you have the Falcons, and then I'll say why I have the Panthers.
Oh, boy. I love the Falcons in this play. Like I mentioned, I think the Panthers will heat up at the end of the season, but it was just very well known that Frank Reich-led teams, when he was on the Colts, never started out well. Always started off with a losing record. They're 0-4-1 against the spread in Week 1. And that's a lot of those games, the Colts were much better, and they were playing teams like Houston, and they couldn't cover, and they lose straight up. So teams always start off slow. Rookie quarterback, rookie coordinators. Falcons have covered 10 of the last 15 against Carolina. And I have faith in Atlanta's offense and their run game to grind this one out, especially if Carolina does not have Brian Burns, which as of right now, it does not look like they will have Brian Burns unless they sign a deal after Bosa. But, yeah, this is actually my survivor pool pick. I'm going Atlanta with one of my entries.
Wow, that's bold. I mean, just because, it's a close spread, but I guess it's early on. Some of the some of the survivor pools wherein you get buyback options.
Yeah, you get buyback to week 9, but I
don't think you're going to have a lot of opportunities to take Atlanta, so I don't hate it.
Frank Reich teams always start off slow.
I'm taking the Panthers. I feel like they can really cover in this game. I wouldn't be shocked if they lost this game. I really see this game.
You have them straight up and against the spread?
I have them straight up and against the spread. I think they cover the spread for sure. I think the win's a toss-up. I lean Panthers just because I really like their defense a lot. I think the Falcons still are young and unproven, so... Although Ritter doesn't turn the ball over a lot, so that's a plus.
He doesn't turn the ball over. They got weapons. They have a great offensive line, and the defense added vets in Jesse Bates and Calais Campbell.
But
so I think
as most of these games go with the Falcons and Panthers, they usually come down to a field goal at the end. So I think it's going to be close. I think the over-under of 39.5, that's a toss-up. I'm leaning the over, but I don't want to decide either way. But I do think the Panthers cover.
I would take the over there too. That seems really low.
Yeah, it's tough
really
to
low.
say.
I could see like a 21-17 game.
I think it's more so that both quarterbacks...
That would be under.
Yeah, exactly.
24-20 game.
Both quarterbacks are pretty unproven. I mean, obviously Bryce Young's never played, so obviously he's extremely unproven.
I do like Bryce Young, though. I think he'll be good this year, but I just think it's going to happen more towards the back end, not right away.
Yeah.
Frank Reich's teams always start off slow. So.
All right, what do we got next?
Houston Texans as 10-point dogs at Baltimore. I have... it's tough with double-digit spreads because of the NFL. They're all professionals, and but I do have the Ravens covering the 10. I think they're going to roll. I think it's going to be a 31-10 game.
Wow.
I think Lamar is going to run all over them. I think Dobbins is going to run all over them. I don't trust that defense. I think Stroud is going to start off rocky, and it's a tough ask going against the first defense with that secondary, and
on the road too.
On the road in Baltimore. You still have Roquan Smith in the middle there. I think it's when Roquan got there, this defense became elite in the middle of the season. So defense going to be elite. Stroud, had a couple picks in the preseason. So I think Stroud's going to turn the ball over. Ravens going to run the ball down their throat, show off some of those new weapons, and I think they whoop ass. And I love Dobbins, anytime touchdown score as well.
So I think the Ravens obviously win this game. I picked them in a couple survivor pools I'm in. But I do actually have the Texans with a backdoor cover. I think it comes down to the end of the game.
Yeah, if they're going to cover, it will be backdoor.
I think it's going to be a cheeky backdoor cover, and I think that's also going to be a cheeky overhit with that touchdown at the end. I see the Ravens being up like 13, 14 points, and then the Texans getting a cheeky backdoor cover to cover the spread and also hit the over. So
yeah, I don't hate it.
I think Stroud will do better than people think because I'm not fully sold on that Baltimore defense. They got guys, but they're not as good as they seem.
Wow, that's bold. They were definitely elite against the run last year, and I think Dameon Pierce gets stuffed. And if you're going to put the ball in Stroud's hands with unproven weapons as well, I think it's tough ask.
Yeah,
tough ask.
Trust me, I think the Ravens are going to win this game. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I think he's going to be play better than getting blown out. I think he'll make it respectable at the end.
That's fair. Next, we got the Tennessee Titans, who you're very high on, at the New Orleans Saints. Your New Orleans Saints.
Two guys I'm super high on.
So either way, one of your boys is taking an L this week.
Yeah.
Saints are 3-point favorites. It's at New Orleans. The over-under at 41. I got the Titans straight up and against the spread. Like you mentioned with your Titans, they always play teams tough. They're always in it. It's always a close game, just the style of football they play under Mike Vrabel. I think Vrabel over Dennis Allen is a clear coaching advantage.
Yep.
I think the Saints' front got worse from last year, and it got older. And I think Derrick Henry is going to show us that he's back in good form, at least for this game. I don't know how he's going to hold up long-term this season, but I do like Derrick Henry and the Titans to win this game. I do think it'll be a close one, though. I think they win by about a field goal.
So I don't know about the over-under here. I'm leaning the over.
I'm not touching that. I'm
leaning the over, but I'm staying away from it. I'm taking the Titans to cover because I got the line at plus 3.5 on the spread pool I'm in.
Oh, you got 3.5 in the spread
pool? In this case,
I guess it moved to 3.
Yeah, it's 3 now, so if you can get it at 3.5, I'm taking the Titans to cover, but I think the Saints win by a field goal. So in that case, it would be pushing the spread, but I lean toward in the future we should try to get this to be so there's no pushes. But
yeah, well, the spread pool sets a week ahead though, so it doesn't move. Like it's
no, I know
at 6.5. Like I looked at these lines today.
Yeah, so but anyway, I have the Saints covering, or I'm sorry, the Titans covering, but the Saints winning this game. I think it's going to be close and come down to the end of the game, where I think the Saints will win by a field goal.
Okay. Next, this is a phenomenal game this week. Should be a barn burner. Miami Dolphins at the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers 3-point favorites at home. Even though their home field advantage might be the worst in the league.
Yeah, no, I think it's by far the worst in the league. I don't even know if it's debatable.
Yeah, I think it's the worst in the league. I went back and forth on this one. I wouldn't be surprised either way this goes, but I am very high in the Chargers this year.
Crazy high over-under also. Damn,
yeah,
51
points is ridiculous. I'm going Chargers. I do think this is a barn burner. I think Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle do their thing. I think the Chargers show off their new offense and they stretch the field. I already mentioned I like Eckler to score multiple touchdowns this week. I do like even though it's very high, I do like the over. And I think the Chargers pass rushing duo needs to take over this game. Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, they weren't in the field much last year, but when they were, it was elite. So take over this game. I like the Chargers. Even I wouldn't be surprised if they won by exactly 3 and it was a push.
Yeah, I'm staying away from the over-under. That's too high of a line for me, but I like the Dolphins to cover and win. Healthy Tua. You've talked about the stats already a ton. The guy doesn't. When Tua's playing and healthy,
he's very good.
The Dolphins rarely lose. What were they, 8-1 last year? You said something like that. So to me, Tua's healthy right now. I'm planning on him starting and finishing that game. So for me, it's an easy game to pick the Dolphins in. They're super talented. Their wide receiver core is insane. Even with their running back room being a little depleted with injuries, that doesn't worry me very much. And I think the fact that the Chargers really never have that home field advantage is going to play a big factor here as well.
One thing I want to mention as well for Miami. McDaniel has mentioned that in order to get this offense to its true peak, they need to get the running game going because it just seemed like they just air the ball out. And you have those two shiny toys on the outside. But he wants to get that running game going. And can he live up to it and actually do it? The Chargers, the last few years, have been one of the worst run defenses in football. So if they get the running game going and start running it down their throat and then run some play action off that and hit those weapons, I wouldn't be surprised if Miami wins it. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
Are they focused on the run game? Or are they not necessarily, don't run the ball every time on first down, but pick your spots. Can they be more effective running the ball? I think that's an interesting thing to look out for this game because it's a good team to try to get that going with.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to that one.
Absolutely.
So next up, we got the Eagles traveling to the Patriots. They're 4-point favorites. I have the Eagles winning and covering. I think that's a low line, honestly, with how dominant we saw the Eagles last year. I don't care. I get the whole Belichick thing and how good of a defensive mind he is, but I think Hurts is at the point where he's taking that next step. I have him in that tier 2, and I think the Eagles I think they honestly run it down that defense's throat, and they score a lot, and I really just can't see Mac Jones doing a lot with how weak his weapons are and, honestly, how strong that Philly defense is. So I have the Eagles in a blowout.
I have the Eagles straight up, but I have the Patriots covering the 4. Belichick has been prepping for this game for months. He has a game plan. The Eagles have 2 rookie coordinators that need to get, they need to wet their whistle a little bit. So I think the Eagles will win late in the game. They'll take over, but I still think they win by only a field goal. I wouldn't be surprised they win by 4, but I like the Patriots. I like Belichick. I like that defense. I think it's going to keep him in the game. Belichick is going to have a great game plan. He usually does well at stopping rushing quarterbacks, so
Fair
I'm
enough.
going with the Pats to cover, but Eagles to win.
All right.
And the Pats are home as well.
Yep. So next up, we got the Packers. They're traveling. Hey, shout out to Tercy. I'll join that party for our fantasy draft in a half an hour when it starts. So next up, we got the Packers, who are a 1-point underdog traveling to the Bears. I actually have the Packers winning this game and covering as well.
As do I. I mentioned that earlier. I think they have the clear edge defensively. Bears are overrated. And the Packers still own the Bears, even without Rodgers.
Yeah, it's not even that I think the Bears are overrated. I just think they have a lot to work through. I think Fields is going to become a better passer throughout the season. I don't see him putting it all together yet, and I think he's going to struggle a lot. And I think a lot of people are writing off Love, and I think he's going to play better in this game than I assumed.
I think the offensive line will dominate the Bears front. They have one of the worst defensive fronts in football. So I think they'll be able to run the ball well against them. And Jordan Love can get some easy throws off of that. And then I think on the flip side, with Rashawn Gary back, the Packers front will dominate that Bears offensive line. I mean, you got a rookie right tackle. Their left tackle was not good last year. I like their edge rushers to get home on Fields. Apply pressure, make them throw the ball to a great secondary.
Yeah. All right, so next up we got the Raiders, who are going to be traveling to Denver. 4-point spread in favor of Denver. Over-under set at 44. I have the Broncos winning and covering.
As do I. Do I. So we're on the same page here.
Yeah, it's just I'm really buying into what the Broncos are doing this year, bringing in Sean Payton. I think Russ will be improved, and I think they show it. And I don't know, the Raiders, just so much turmoil always going on there. I mean, they lost Waller in the offseason. They lost Carr in the offseason. Josh Jacobs, they just got back only 2 weeks ago. So there's a lot of question marks there, and I just think they're going to struggle. And that defense of Denver is just so good. And I really don't know what to expect with Jimmy G-led offense there.
Yeah, I got Broncos as well. I can see like a 21-13 type of game. I don't like Josh McDaniels. Sean Payton over McDaniels is a clear coaching edge. Their defense elite. We have not seen Jimmy Garoppolo play without being in Shanahan's scheme in a very long time, and now he's going a completely different way in the way McDaniels does it. So I think it's tough for him week 1 against this Denver defense to make that adjustment. And I think Las Vegas in the clear decline. McDaniels last year, I think the Broncos really shut down that offense.
Yeah, no, I agree. So it sounds like we're on the same page there as we are with this next game. We both have the Seahawks, who are a 5.5-point favorite,
especially with no
over
Cooper
the Rams.
Cup. With no Cooper Kupp, how are they going to score points, man?
I mean, the line's 46.5, so I love the under because I don't know how the Rams are going to put up a lot of points.
I like the under too
because I really like Seattle's defense. I mean, honestly, I like the under, but I would also like Seattle's team total over. Like, I see this being a blowout. Honestly, I could see like a 30-10 game here. I wouldn't cover, so I could see like a 30-17 game here.
This is my other pick in Survivor, my other entry. I have the Seahawks beating the Rams, especially without Cooper Kupp. I think it's a home run play. They're not going to lose this game. And they're at home.
Yeah, I'm actually in a pool. It's called a 33-point pool. You have to pick a team each week to score over 33 points, and I'm going with Seattle for that. So.
Wow, that's a bold one.
I think they're going to have a big week. So.
Can you only use one team?
No, you can switch it every week. But
so you could use the Chiefs multiple times if
you
want.
could.
Surprised you didn't go with the Detroit-Kansas City game. But
yeah, you know what? It's just with how bad the Rams defense is this year and how good the Seattle offense is.
LA Chargers.
So, and it's at home for Seattle, so...
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see with Seattle how they split up their running back carries. How many of those
go to Walker
carries is Charbonnet going to eat? I'm interested to see that. Also, is JSN playing? I think he's questionable, right?
Yeah, I don't think they've officially ruled him out. So,
but I'm curious to see how those targets get distributed, especially those 3 wide receivers. So, I mean, I think they beat them. The secondary for the Rams is very bad. I wouldn't be surprised if the Seattle weapons ate on them.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Sunday Night Football.
Let's go, baby.
Your Cowboys are traveling to play the Giants.
That's not funny. Don't ever say that again.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Cowboys 3.5 point favorites.
Oh my god. I'll never say that again.
My Giants, I'll be there. I'm excited. Oh my god, I've been looking forward to this day for
originally
so long.
I had the Cowboys covering, but then when I found out you were going to the game right now, I was like, holy crap. If you have Colin Tong superfan there, I mean, the sky's the limit.
You're going to hear me from the 3rd level.
Oh, Joe's going too. We got our producer and my co-host going to that show. So right away, I mean, the Giants are going to win when you got these two guys cheering. But no, I'll let you talk about why you think
I got the Giants covering, and even though the Giants, the past several years, have not been able to beat Dak, and the Cowboys, especially on week 1, it seems like we get them every year.
I think that's on purpose.
Last year, they were both one-score games, very close. I think the Cowboys got worse and the Giants got better. The Giants are at home. I think they split the season series, but I think the Giants take it at home, especially because that improved run defense, which is what Dallas gashed them with last year. The key to this game, though, is Evan Neal versus DeMarcus Lawrence / Micah Parsons, whoever they line up on him. Neal led up 3 sacks last year. DeMarcus Lawrence owned him. That was the worst game of Neal's life, he said. So, no, he wants payback. If he steps up and can protect Daniel Jones, I like the Giants, baby. Come on.
Now, what do you think about the over-under? That's set at 46.5. You just staying away and cheering for Big Blue?
Yeah, I'm just cheering for my squad.
So, I actually have Dallas winning and covering.
God, the biggest Giants hater right now.
I'm not even a Giants hater. It's just I know how good Dallas is in the regular season. You know they're going to be fired up. They always play the Giants tough and well. Kind of how Dallas seems to always have your guys' number, and you guys always seem to have the Commanders' number.
That's absolutely true.
It seems like with that division, there's a lot of stuff that you can go off of and see over the past couple of years, and Dallas has had your guys' number. You're a stat guy, so I'm just going to go with the stats there and look at the team that's been able to cover. And I think, like I said before,
like the buddy commented on our YouTube video, it's not all about the stats.
It's not all about the stats, that's true. But I'm actually expecting a big game for Tony Pollard fantasy-wise, too. I was on the spot before, but the more and more I think about it, I like it. And, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Giants covered here. I think it's going to be close. I still think it's going to be a one-score game, but I just lean Dallas with a 3.5-point spread. Over-under, I lean over, actually. I think the Giants' offense is improved from last year, and Dallas is, I think, is even improved, too. I mean, adding Brandon Cooks, I think, helps as well on the outside. So I'm leaning over, and I'm leaning Dallas in a one-score game, but to cover.
I will say that stadium is going to be absolutely electric Sunday night. Joe Shane sent an email to all the season ticket holders, a letter, and Brian Dable. It's absolutely...
That's tough. So
Joe Shane... We're getting rally towels. The first 25K fans get a shirt with their logo this year. Be Giant. I'm fucking pumped. It's going to be electric.
With all you Giants fans going, I might have to flip to it. So maybe I'll have the Giants covering the spread.
Yeah, let's go.
Maybe we'll bring the energy.
Yeah, I mean, holy crap. Especially if you guys get towels too. I mean,
towels and shirts.
Yeah, I could see like Dak about to rush in the end zone. You throw a towel and it like nails him in the face.
It blinds him and he just like gets hurt again.
I have like a
wow
closet full of rally towels that I've got.
Oh my gosh, bring them all. Just keep chucking them at the Dallas players.
All right, last but not least, the Bills, 2.5-point favorites at your New York Jets in MetLife. I will say, this game has been bothering me. This is the one I'm least confident about because I know MetLife for that game will also be electric.
You have no idea what to expect.
Will also be electric,
Jets.
But it's tough. Yeah, you know, a lot of new pieces. I don't love Hackett as the OC, but man, I kept going back and forth. I got the Bills, but I got them by a field goal. Very close game. I'd feel a lot better about it if Von Miller was playing. We got to see how that Jets offensive line holds up.
Definitely helps not having to go against Von Miller.
I know. It's a tough one, man. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets win this because they're going to have the crowd behind them. It's going to be an electric game.
It's on 9/11 too, so the city's going to be buzzing already.
It's going to be a hell of a game. I'm excited for it, but I've got the Bills straight up, but I have the Jets covering 2.5 actually. I think the Jets, I think it's going to be like a 1-point game, dude.
I think the stadium's going to be
like a 2-point conversion or something. Like, it's going to be
Hear me out.
A sick game.
This is how we're going to win. Our fans are going to be so loud, because think about it. Security's going to be like all tired and stuff from doing it all the night before, so our fans are going to be able to get away with so much more, because these guys are going to be so tired from working the game before. So I think that's going to help well, because our fans are going to
competitive edge, baby. I've never heard that one.
Think about it. All the MetLife, security and stuff, they're going to be out of it. They're going to be like, oh, I'm so tired from doing that Dallas Giants game. All the Jets fans are going to be going rowdy, getting away with so much more stuff. Like, they could probably streak the field and not even get in trouble for it. So it's going to be rowdy.
Wow, you've been to a lot of Jet games, huh? You've seen that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. Jet fans go nuts. They're very. We got to drink our sorrows away, so we do stupid shit. But I think the Jets are going to win. I think they're going to cover. I mean, we'll see. But either way, I think it's going to be a great game, and I think that might be the best game of the week to watch.
Yeah, that's a good one. Giants Cowboys, really good one, and Chargers Miami. Yeah. Those are some fun games, man.
And that's why, and Chiefs Lions.
And Chiefs Lions.
I guess that's why.
Let's go! Come on, football's here! Yeah. Come on!
So, I mean, that kind of wraps up this Week 1 preview. It'll be interesting when we talk next week to see how we both did against the spread.
Yeah, we're going to break it down, recap it next week. We'll do 2 episodes a week throughout the season, so stay tuned, guys.
Yeah, make sure you guys like and subscribe to all of our videos and stuff, and once again, if you guys got any punishment ideas for us or any ideas of bets we can do between each other, please comment it so we can add more to it. Thanks, guys.